Shame is a healthy human emotion that keeps you centered around the values that are important to you. And if you do something that contradicts those values, the shame shows up to remind you that you went against yourself and against your own fundamental beliefs and thought patterns and expectations. So you atone to yourself for those transgressions that you have perceived. Shame is a conversation between you and you around something that you have done or experienced. So, in other words, shame shows up to remind you about thoughts, intentions, dreams, and expectations of you by you. There is no shame unless we contradict something that is fundamentally important to us. Our beliefs, our values, our expectations, our morals, our ethics, something that doesn't align with the way we want our life to move towards. When we do things that are horrific to us, we are shamed. And that is called healthy shame because it shows up to hold you to account to yourself. It shows up because you feel like you fell short of the expectations that you set for yourself. And that is actually a beautiful human quality to be able to reflect, to have that empathy for others based on what you did to them, or to have that higher expectation for you based on the value that you hold on yourself, your expectations for yourself, and the way you want your life to align and progress. When we go against those expectations, then shame will show up to remind you that you've been mean, you've been wicked, you've been selfish, you've been some other thing that is diminishing you in your own eyes. Shame can also come from other people doing those things to you, people making you feel less than good enough. There, however, comes days or times where we struggle to let go of that healthy shame and we let it define us instead of caution us of those things that contradicted our view of self. We then start to see ourselves as those things that the shame elevated. You're not good enough. You're not kind enough. You're not loved enough. And that starts to define who you are as opposed to the reasons why the shame was elevated to you in the first place. That is your toxic shame, taking control of your life. This is just an invitation for you to be able to sit with your shame and actually acknowledge it and use it to foster those values that you have created in yourself that the shame is showing up to guide you away from. Shame shows up when we disappoint ourselves in terms of what we love within the core of us, who we want to be within the core of us. If you want to be a kind person and you do a mean deed, your shame will show up. If you want to be a faithful person and you're unfaithful, your shame will show up. And that is a good thing because it's a moral compass that is guiding you back to the self that you desire. But when we embrace it and let it define us, it becomes toxic. We start to see ourselves as that definition instead of using that definition to guide ourselves. Shame is a friend that shows up to caution a friend that they are deviating from the valuable things that they once held true. And sometimes we listen to that image in the mirror more than the person standing outside of the mirror. It's your shame, so it's showing up in your life for a reason that is important to you. Either because you're failing to be that thing or because you're that thing that you shouldn't be. So listen to your shame, accept that you want the things that it is guiding you towards or away from, and do something about it. Listen to your shame and reflect on whether you're pushing that on someone else to be who they are not or to be who you want them to be, and do something about it.